In the previous episode, we have discovered that the two anointed ones are from the east. So who are these anointed ones? Nowadays, the term East or Far East usually refer to Asia, especially China. Rome 1:20, God's invisible qualities manifest throughout all His creation, so there are no excuses not knowing Him. Long ago, before there was a country called China, the Han people called this place Shen Zhou, a state of God. The place is also referred to as the 12 states. It has one emperor and its people worshipping only one God, and the name of this God is called Shangti, the Emperor of Heaven. Bear in mind, all languages originates from the Tower of Babel. Therefore, a lot of biblical stories are embedded in our cultures and history throughout the world. Unlike the English language that are made out of sounds, the Chinese language are made out of symbols that are combined to form characters and words. Thus, by just looking at the characters, we are able to tell its etymology. However, in many instances, the symbols that combine to form the etymology does not relate to the word itself. Nevertheless, when Chinese theologians matched these characters to the story in the Bible, they were amazed because it's an actual match. For example, the word tower, as in the Tower of Babel, the Chinese word is called Ta. The word Ta consisted of 5 symbols. The first 2 are earth and grass, which are used to make bricks for the tower. The other 3 are human, one, and mouth or language, which forms to means one language. Thus, the word Ta actually matched the biblical story concerning the Tower of Babel, where all human beings at that time still speaks one language. There are many Chinese characters describing the story from the Garden of Eden. The word spirit in Chinese is called Ling. The first 2 characters are rain and work. In Genesis, God has not sent in any rain because there's no workers to work the ground. There are 2 peoples in the characters, which represents Adam and Eve. There are 3 mouths in the characters, representing when God breathed life to Adam and Eve. Another word is the word greed, which in Chinese is called lan. It consists of 2 trees and a female. The trees are the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, where Eve was tempted to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Another interesting character is the word naked, luo, which consisted of 2 symbols, one of clothing and one of fruit. Usually it doesn't really make sense why they would use the word fruit for the etymology of naked, but it matches the story of Eve and Adam when they ate the fruit of knowledge and realized that they are naked. When Adam and Eve were forbidden to enter the Garden of Eden, they realized that they will never see these 2 trees again, the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. Amazingly, the Chinese word for forbidden is called jing, consisted of 3 symbols, the 2 trees and 1 of sight. Another great event after the Garden of Eden, before the Tower of Babel, is the Great Global Flood. In Chinese, the character for flood is called Hong, consisted of san dian sui, which means water, and gong. Gong is together, and the last symbol is ba, which is the letter A. Therefore, the etymology represented Noah's 8 family members. Together, they survived the global flood. In fact, the word ship in Chinese is called chuan, which consisted of 3 symbols, the boat, the letter A, and people. Combined, it represents Noah's 8 family members on the ark. Not only did the Chinese characters describe biblical stories, miraculously, it also described Christ himself. The word righteous in Chinese we call yi consisted of 3 symbols, the lamb, the hand, and the lance. It also means piercing or cutting. Thus the word righteous in Chinese, Yi, representing Christ as the sacrificial lamb. In episode 12, we have concluded that the Messianic group come from the east. Therefore, these two witnesses are part of the Messianic group. The olive tree, like offering an olive branch, symbolizes peace. In Chinese, the character is called Tai. In the Transfiguration, the disciples saw Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. The power of the two witnesses are similar to that of Moses, turning the water into blood and to strike plague. The Chinese word for peace is Tai. The ancient etymology consisted of two hands holding up a person over water. Exodus 2:10, I drew him out of the water. That is the meaning of the name for Moses. In addition, the Chinese word for peace, which is Tai, has a present etymology as well. Consisted of three person over water. This represents the three leaders of the Anointed Ones from the east crossing the dry river Euphrates. In the past, this represents Moses, Joshua, and Elijah crossing bodies of water by divine power. If we consider the name Aaron as meaning enlightenment or light, then this three-person group will be Moses, Aaron, and Joshua crossing the Red Sea. In fact, the name of Joshua and Jesus has the same meaning, and both of them have traveled across the water by divine power. Therefore, the Chinese word for peace, Tai, fulfill Revelation 11 for the olive tree, Moses, and more. Malachi 4:5, Elijah will come before Christ. In Revelation 11, the two witnesses also demonstrate Elijah's power, stopping the rain and causing destruction by fire. The word lampstand here represented by a bright light. In Chinese, it is called Hui. The character Hui, which means bright light, its etymology consisted of two symbols, fire and army. 2 Kings 1:12, Elijah destroyed the army by fire from heaven. The Chinese word Hui can be further broken down into three components: chariot covered by fire. 2 Kings 2:11, Elijah was taken up to heaven by chariots of fire. Therefore, the Chinese word for Hui, which means bright light, fulfill Revelation 11 concerning the lampstand and of Elijah.